You know, historically, one of the greatest things that we have dealt with as Black Americans and what has been always dangerous is when they're jealous of us. It don't matter who it is, right? If you remember the story of Black Wall Street, at that time period, they were upset with FBA because we were doing so much better than them. They come back from World War I at the time and they said, hey, look at all those black people over there. They doing so much better than us. They're living in mansions while we live in poor. And that's always been an issue with them. They cannot stand when you do good and they don't. Even though everything's been given to them, literally, handed to them on a silver platter, they still find a way to even not take advantage of that, mess that up. And yet black people who have every disadvantage of the world thrown at us, we forgot a way to make it. Now, I want you to see something from this white guy. Same attitude. A lot of the anti-black racism comes from their jealousy of black people. But let's go ahead and check out this short clip.
It's a sad reality, y'all, knowing that I have to come in here and work this blue-collar job just to make ends meet. And I get to sit here and watch Crump be on TV and read like a second grader, yet he's making millions of dollars and I'm just barely scraping by. Y'all make it make sense.
Well, Mr. Jealous Person, I'll make it make sense for you. Benjamin Crump, and this is, like I said, I don't know the brother personally and nothing like that, but this just facts. You chose a blue-collar job. Ben Crump decided to go to college. You chose a blue-collar job. He decided to go to law school and pass the bar, become a lawyer, civil lawyer. That's what he chose to do. You chose a blue-collar job. He chose to try to grow his practice, and he grew it to the point where he's kind of representing people in a lot of cases nationwide. He's on TV, these different cases, whatever he got going on. You chose a blue-collar job. Benjamin Crump didn't want a blue-collar job, sir. And him being a black man in America, and you say he speaks like a second grader, well, a man who supposedly speaks like a second grader. Now, I know he doesn't have he isn't the most eloquent speaker, but you don't have to be. And, he has his own accent that he has. But how come a man that you claim that speaks like a second grader and you allege he's making millions of dollars? I mean, I know he's getting money off some of the civil cases. You could have been doing the same thing. You could have went to school. You could have got your law degree. You could have been a civil attorney just like him. And maybe you'll be getting the same thing he's getting. See, the fact is with a lot of you folks is that you don't want to put in the work. Black people, we put in the work. We have to, number one, be 10 times even better than you. Even at that blue collar job that you chose. Why are you sitting up there looking at Benjamin Crump and saying, look all the money he making. I'm working this blue collar job. Sir, if you feel your life was a failure, you chose that, sir. You chose to fail because clearly you're not happy with your life. You're looking on TV and feel that black man who's so Paul, I'm better than, because you talking about his speech or whatever. He's making all these millions of dollars. I got to work this job. That means you feel in your life that you have been a failure, a complete failure. That's what but you are a product of your choices. We are all products of our choices. Don't matter about nobody's color. We choose our destiny. Kind of like what they say, like at least the old school Mortal Kombat, where they say choose your destiny. You chose that. And if you want to actually go to school and become a lawyer, you can. You're still alive. But that's not nothing you're going to choose. You're going to sit up there and just hate on Benjamin Crump or hate on any other black person that's doing better than you. All the privilege you have, you fail upward. And you still figure out a way to just, like you say, work a blue-collar job. There's nothing wrong with working a blue-collar job. Nothing wrong with that. But clearly, you're not happy working a blue-collar job because you feel that you should have millions of dollars. Well, anybody who's gotten to the point they got millions of dollars, they didn't get it overnight. It took time. It took burning the midnight oil. It took sacrifice. It took a whole lot of things for them to get there. You don't know what that man makes a year. None of us do, and I don't even care what that brother makes. That's what it goes on that brother's bank account is his business. Only bank account I'm worried about is my bank account. That's it. The bank account in my family. That's the only bank accounts I'm worried about. I'm not looking at another man on TV talking about, oh, yeah, he getting all this money, but I'm sitting up here just making content on the internet. No. Because anything you do in life, you can turn it into millions of dollars. If you apply yourself, if you do the right thing, and if you can't make what you want to make, then you switch. You know, I switched out of careers. At one point in time in my life, I was on the water, work in the inland waterway, in a coastal waterway, working on towboats. Became a tankerman. I worked on boats for like a 20 and 10 schedule at the time period, and then I moved. My plan was to get my tankerman license, get good enough to I can transfer to shoreside tankerman, and I did that. And then I was a shoreside tankerman for some years, tankering barges in the different plants. And I say, you know what? I want to transfer into the plant. I want to become an operator. I made a plan. I did that. I became an operator. Then when I became an operator, I said, you know what? With time, I said, I see people doing this stuff online. They're making money. I'm like, my goal was if I can make enough money just to pay my bills online, and I can just work my job, man, it's like I'm living free of bills, right? And then once I got to a point, I realized, you know what, this actually can grow into a real company and be a real thing. Then I said, I'm going to eventually get out of being an operator, and I'm going to get into having my own company. I can do this full time, and that's all I do. It was a plan. I made plans. It took time for some of these plans to happen, but it took time. It took time. But I was willing to make the sacrifices. I was willing to pay the things I needed to pay and go through the years of learning ups and downs all around. I was willing to do that to get to where I'm at so I can look at myself in this age right now and not look at another man on TV and talk about how much money he's making and I'm just doing this. I'm very happy at what I'm doing. I'm the happiest I can ever be. Because I'm doing what I want to do. Yes, at times I got ups and downs, but let's call it what it is. I got a great job. I sit and I talk for a living. I do music. Now I'm doing a show now, the Lasherica show now. Working on the next episode of that as we speak. We're about halfway done. We're trying to get that created. I'm doing so many different things. We have an African Diaspora News Channel app. I have so many things that I'm doing, more things I'm going to do down the pipe. But none of that came with me sitting down hating on another man. No, it came from making a plan, executing the plan, not looking at another man and what he has done and what he has executed. See, the problem with a lot of you folks is that a lot of you are lazy. You don't want to plan anything. You don't want to go through the years of toil. A lot of you, I'm talking about those who have that attitude like him. You think things should be handed to you, and that's not the way it works. You got to put in the time, effort, and go through some things. And some of you don't want to go through that. So don't be hating on Benjamin Crump. There's nothing to hate on for me. The man chose his path, and he living it. I'm worried about my path, and you should worry about your path. If you're not happy with your blue collar job, then go figure out something else. I did, and I'm black. I had to go through all kind of hoops. Let me tell you something. I don't be sitting up here constantly being mad at even white people, even though it's true that I can be probably a lot further if I was a white man. I don't even care about that. I don't care about I'm going to get to where I need to get to in the time I need to get there. But that's where the bulk of the racism comes from, whether it's coming from people like him or the white female to the black woman, just jealous. That is the root of racism, jealousy for them. And they have caused race riots, sabotage, and everything because they are jealous of you and they're jealous of me. Stop being jealous. Put in the work. Stop complaining. Pull yourself up by your bootstraps. That's what you can do. And then maybe you can make millions of dollars a year. If Benjamin Crump can do it, and you claim that you're supposed to speak better than him or whatever, then maybe go ahead and do it, sir. Stop complaining online.